This week on the Steam Machine Podcast, we're down in a well and we don't know if we can be saved. Cue the music! Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Steam Machine Podcast. My name is Dalton, and joining me as always are my good buddies and the Brothers of Destruction their fucking selves.
Hey y'all, it's Nate again.
Hi, it's Willie. I'm back. I was back last week, but I'm back again this week.
Guess who's back with a brand new rap? Speaking of, it was cool to see Eminem at the Super Bowl. Like, I didn't watch the Super Bowl, but I did watch the halftime show while I was sitting on the toilet the next day, and it was interesting. Like, I enjoyed it.
I liked it, but I also got this weird feeling like I always thought the Super Bowl halftime shows were kind of for older people and kind of media market neutral, and the fact that I was actually excited for this show is just making me kind of cognizant of my own age.
Right? Yeah.
Did y'all see some of like the Christian group responses to these? Like, holy crap, it's so ridiculous. It's like, the sexual bowl, what is this? I'm like, how old are you guys?
For one,
Eminem and Snoop Dogg are still a problem for you.
That, and like, I saw people saying that Mary J. Blige was dressed too skimpily or whatever, and I'm like, dude, she was wearing more than some of the cheerleaders.
Right?
What the fuck are y'all talking about? It
selective.
Just baffles me. Yeah, that's exactly what the fuck it is.
Yeah, exactly what it is. There's no internal consistency or reasoning to it. It's all just getting mad to, make a point.
Dude, it just makes me want to do like a performance where I got a bunch of my legs showing and I just write like, I love Jesus down my legs. So they really, like, what are they going to complain about?
They would love it.
Yeah, exactly. And I might even hang dong. But as long as I might even write Jesus on my dong.
That one might be a little more ambiguous.
It's an art project. Dongs for Jesus. Oh God, I'm sorry.
Jesus.
Dicks out for Jesus. You know Harambe is up there chilling with him.
Aww. They're mauling children together in heaven now.
Oh my God. That makes me think of the Jim Jeffries bit where he's like, wouldn't it suck if you went to heaven and you were like, hello mom, hello granddad, hello uncle who used to touch me, how did you get here? And he goes, oh, that's right, you worked for the church. And I'm just like, oh, dark.
Yeah.
But Jim Jeffries, all his shit's dark, so, but he's a funny motherfucker.
Yeah.
Shout out to Australia, man. Because we got Arisa Adam from Australia and Jim Jeffries is Australian. So, quickly, update on the Fantasy League. I had a couple games come out. So real quick, the games that I did pick up some games this week. I picked up Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Good pick.
Okay. Yeah, that's smart.
And Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. Now, we'll see about that. I generally picked that because I really liked Fire Emblem 3 Houses. Because it was basically Persona meets Fire Emblem. It was wonderful. But let me turn on advanced projections.
So you might as well pick up Persona 5 Strikers too then, right? Because that's going to be what this is.
Well, I mean, I have Persona 5 Strikers. It's in my library. I just haven't played it yet. I know, and I'm like, why not? But I just haven't. Let's see, who else picked up some stuff? Oh, yeah, Phil went hard. He got Oxenfree 2, and is it Live A Live or is it Live Alive?
I honestly have always thought it was Live Alive, and they said it completely differently from that on the show, so I have no idea what it is.
Yeah, I always called it Live Alive, but yeah, on the direct they called it Live Alive, so I guess that's what it is. Chad picked up Nintendo Switch Sports. I'm looking.
I could look up the Japanese pronunciation and then just use that. Live Alive. It is Wikipedia, please.
And Jeremy, real quick, picked up...
okay, it's Live Alive.
Oh, is it really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then I just feel like a dummy for calling it the wrong name all the years.
I mean, it's kind of a dumb-sounding name, let's be real.
And it looks like Jeremy picked up Mario Strikers Battle League and Disney Speedstorm.
I don't feel good about Disney Speedstorm. Isn't that the FTP game? Free to play?
It might be free to play. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're releasing it for Switch free to play, but I think you have passes where you can buy into it to get things.
Of course.
It's one of those. I was going to get it until I realized that it was one of those, and I'm like, I don't have time for that crap.
So,
I'm getting really sick of season passes in video games.
Yeah. Especially because there's like you got, I think it was Borderlands 3, they're up to like Season Pass 3 or something like that. And I'm like, what? Oh. There should be one Season Pass. It's not our fault you do more seasons. Fucking A.
I just want more money, bro.
So I had a game come out today, which was Star Wars: The Old Republic: Legacy of the Sith, which hasn't gotten enough reviews to have a number yet. But what's today? Tuesday. So Thursday, Total War Warhammer 3 comes out, and King of Fighters 15 comes out.
Ooh, King of Fighters 15 is already coming out. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And as of right now, King of Fighters 15 has an 82, so it's plus 12 points.
Okay. Yep.
Total War Warhammer 3 is an 89.
Woohoo!
And that was an 88 at first, so it's gone up a point in ratings. So I'm hoping that goes up. So I have that. Plus, I still don't have Elden Ring yet. And I feel like what's weird to me is that Elden Ring is projected to give me 14 points, which would put it at an 84. That game is going to get way more than the fucking 84. That's like...
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think you'd have to be an insane critic to not give it a high score. Like, you're expected to.
Yeah, but I will say, Horizon Forbidden West, I thought was going to score over 90, and it has an 89. So it matched Total War Warhammer, and that surprised me like a motherfucker. Some other games that released, Wanderer came out, got an 88, which netted Cody 18 points. Sifu, I think we talked about that last week, netted 80. And Philly G got Crusader Kings 3 Royal Court DLC, which got an 83. So not bad. Dying Light 2 got a 77.
Scores.
Oof.
70 what?
Dying Light 2 got a 77.
Oof.
Which is not bad, but like worse than I thought it was going to do.
Yeah.
But apparently that game's like 500 hours long or something like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, insane. So, how you guys been doing this week, man? What you guys been up to?
It's been all right, man. I think I'm getting close to the very, very end of Pokemon Legends Arceus. I'm running out of content. My Pokedex is close to full. And I've caught so many legendary Pokemon at this point. It's just like, yeah, it's winding down. I think I'll probably be pretty done with it here by the end of this week is what it's looking like.
Hell yeah. What about you, Willie? What about you?
Watched some curling lately. I've always enjoyed the Olympic curling, and I found a feed of it where they didn't have any commentators, so you can just hear the athletes like talking to each other and planning their shots out and stuff. And I don't know, I found it really fascinating how much communication there is going on throughout that whole game.
Huh. Yeah, I've never actually watched curling, but that would be interesting, like without the commentation. Like just to kind of it's like you're kind of there on the ice or whatever they play on. I think it's ice, right? Yeah.
Ice.
I thought so.
I
feel
plus,
like
it's very fun because the other team was Switzerland, and so they were speaking like German, and so they're always saying like "Super," which I thought was very funny.
Super.
I don't know why I gave him such a gruff voice. It was the girls' teams.
I mean, Olga, Helga, Hinga, Dinga, and Durgan. Oh man. I feel like Pluto TV is really good for stuff like that. Like, I always find the randomest shit on Pluto TV.
Exists.
Like, I remember
that is like the most fun, like, because it brings me back to, like, back when there were a whole bunch of channels. Instead of having to pick what to watch, you just say, I want to watch something kind of like this. Go.
Yeah. Yeah, and like they all always have my respect because when Anthony Bourdain died, they had an Anthony Bourdain channel for like 3 months where you could just watch his shit over and over and over, and it was great.
Oh, that sounds awesome. Yeah,
and they had a NASA channel too. It was just like live feed of the Earth from somewhere up in space. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Now, I have a question. I heard something about their decommissioning the space station. Maybe I read wrong.
I don't know.
No, neither of you never heard.
I don't know anything about that.
I will do some research and get back next week.
I've heard something about it in passing, but I didn't look into it too much, honestly.
I just read that they were gonna like decommission it, and they were planning out a place in the ocean for it to fall. And I'm like, yeah, that's just drop it in the ocean. Yeah, that'll fucking be perfectly fine. I'm sure. I'm not gonna bring any kind of weird space bacteria or anything with it. Yeah.
Man, one of those space stations, I think it was when the Mir station was coming down, they had like a big goofy promotion where I think like Taco Bell would give everyone in the country a free taco if it hit like this target they set up, and it wasn't like within 1,000 miles of the target. They just put a damn thing out in the ocean like, here I guess.
This looks like a good spot.
Can't believe the Taco Bell astronomers bungled this one.
Wouldn't like the waves carry that target out anyway? It's like not like it'd be easy to make that a static target.
Yeah, they'd have to seriously anchor it. And I mean, at a certain depth, it's like, how do you anchor it without having a boat with a big ass long anchor reel chain? And even then, there's still probably spots in the ocean where you just can't. Fuck. I don't even like to think about how deep the ocean is, bro. Like, it fucking bothers me. I'm like, dude, there's probably some real creepy shit down there that we don't know. So I know that the movie was hot garbage, but I read the book Meg in high school. And the book is really good. The book goes into so much scientific detail and stuff about how this would actually happen and work. And it really bummed me out when I saw that the movie was starring The Rock or whoever the fuck it was. And I love The Rock. You know, everybody knows I'm a wrestling fan. I love The Rock. But like, that just told me that it was going to be a fucking action flick. I was like, damn it, man. Give me like Matt Damon or somebody who I'll at least consider it might be a thoughtful piece. Like, fucking A.
Yeah.
We have taken your scientific documented novel and turned it into a Jason Statham movie. Good luck.
Oh, it was Jason Statham. Okay, I knew it was one of those fucking bald fuckers. I mean, seriously, there's like major action film stars. There's been 3 of them that have been bald. You got The Rock, you got Bruce Willis, and you got Jason Statham.
Vin Diesel.
And Vin Diesel. Yeah, the Rock Light.
Not to derail too much, but all the stories about how much The Rock and Vin Diesel hate working with each other is hilarious.
I was just about to bring that up. Yeah, dude. Like, where they like won't do scenes with
each other. Contract where they can't stow each other up in any kind of way, so it's just like ridiculous.
Yeah, and like there's a part in like Vin Diesel's contract where he has to make him look as tall as The Rock.
Yeah, wasn't that like part of the big beef is that like Vin Diesel's this big bad action star, but then he's standing next to The Rock and everybody's like, oh yeah, he's only like 5'10". Okay, I got you. Which 5'10" is not short, but when you're standing next to The Rock who's like 6'4" and a mountain of a man.
Yeah. I was going to say, how much of a baby do you have to be? Because like everyone's seen that picture where Arnold Schwarzenegger is next to like
Wilt Chamberlain.
Andre the Giant and Wilt Chamberlain? Yeah. And he looks like a tiny manlet, but that didn't kill his prestige. Everyone still thinks of him as a big badass bodybuilder guy. Like, you think you deserve better than Arnold, Vin Diesel?
He seems like he does think that. Yes, that seems like his personality.
I will say though, I give him credit. He's a big D&D fan, apparently. So like, I give him kudos for being a nerd. But yeah, he seems like kind of a douchebag. I'd tell you a picture that I always laughed at. Oh, go ahead.
I feel like when I was younger, the Vin Diesel's a big nerd thing was cool to me. But now, like, every pro wrestler is pretty much a full-time gamer now, too, and shit. It's like, I don't think it's that big. I think just everyone's a nerd now.
That's fair. One of my favorite pictures is Kevin Hart standing next to Shaq and Yao Ming.
Oh, yeah.
That's some funny shit. Like, he could very literally have some dicks on his shoulders.
Isn't Yao
Oh my
Ming
god.
Isn't Yao Ming like a full 2 inches or so taller than Shaq too?
Yeah, I think Shaq's 7 foot or 7'1", and I think Yao Ming's like 7'4", 7'3", something. That's insane.
About right.
Yeah, in this picture, Yao Ming makes Shaq look like a regular sized guy, and they make Kevin Hart look like their tiny child.
Like a fucking kid. Yeah. Insane, dude. So this week I have been playing a little game called Lost Ark, which is a game that just came out. It's been super fucking hyped up.
Oh shoot, I hope you find it, man.
Thanks, man. I'm gonna hopefully find it. Like, I found a piece of the key for it, so we'll see how it goes. But this game's been hyped up for a long time. It was like this big MMO coming out, and I installed it. It's bigger than I thought it would be. It's like 80 gigs. But I loaded it up, and the character creator and everything, I'm like, this fucking looks like a Black Desert clone. Because the character creator reminded me a lot of Black Desert, and then I realized, okay, it's not as in-depth as Black Desert. So maybe it's just the aesthetic choice. But I go into the game, and I'm not met with like normal MMO combat. Like, it's like a Diablo, Grim Dawn, Path of Exile style combat. And I was like, oh, this is refreshing. This is refreshing, because most MMOs come out, and there's like a general, it's either going to be like a combo based MMO, or it's going to be a hotkey based MMO. You know, like you got your World of Warcraft and you got your Black Deserts, basically is what I'm saying, getting at. But this one seems really cool.
The ones that claim that they're inspired by Ultima Online, and they all shut down in 3 months because no one actually wants to play them.
Yes, except for sure.
Like, this game is hardcore. This game isn't going to baby you. And then people play like, oh, I'm the guy getting ganked, not the awesome PvP monster. I don't like this.
I will say, like, Shroud of the Avatar is pretty fucking good. It hasn't shut down, but also you can't get ganked. I think in that game, if you want to duel, you have to accept it. Unless there might be a PvP server, but as far as I know, there's no server choice. Anyway, but
I've always felt like opt-in PvP is the obvious answer, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean that would be my preferred way to do it.
That way you have all the people that are just there to grief, all dealing with each other instead of the people that just want to play and progress in the game.
So I just wanted to give you guys a quick rundown of the classes, and maybe you guys would be interested in playing this with me sometime, because it's free to play. I just want to throw everybody out there. It's a free to play MMO.
Okay, nice. So
you have the warrior, and when you choose your warrior and you create your class and everything, you get ported to like this. Do you remember? Did either of you play the first Kingdom Hearts?
No.
Okay, so you get put in like this weird space where it's just like nothing around you but the platform you're standing on in darkness. And then you kind of walk across this walkway that ethereally appears as you go across it, and then there's like this book, and you click the book, and it gives you a choice of what advanced class you want. Just to explain why I'm going to break down these. So each class has advanced classes. So the warrior, you have Berserker, which is, I mean, you get a massive two-handed sword. So it's like Berserk, you know, of course. I created one of those. They seem pretty fun. My main is a paladin. And he is like a one-handed sword, and his other hand does like a holy magic damage. And then there's the one that I tried, and it seems decent. And your gear is absolutely hilariously big, and that's the Gun Lancer. And you have this fucking huge shield, and then your other weapon is this massive fucking lance with a big gun barrel coming out the middle of it, where you hit people and then it fires fucking bullets.
Yeah.
It's really, really cool.
I'm kind of glad it got a wacky class in there, because I was kind of afraid you were just going to tell me every D&D class or some shit.
Oh, no. So then you have a martial artist, and it's it's got 4 classes. Wow. I didn't realize that. Oh, okay, so there's 2 different martial artists. There's a male martial artist and a female martial artist. Apparently the male has 1 class, the female has 3, from what I'm seeing. So the male class is Striker. And that's your basic just monk with big gauntlets. You hit hard, you're kind of slow, but you do a lot of damage. The ones that I haven't checked out, but now I'm going to, now that I know that there's 3 other ones, is War Dancer, Scrapper, and Soul Fist. And I assume Soul Fist is more magical. Scrapper is probably very, very quick. And War Dancer, I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. But I'll check those out.
Sounds like a racehorse name.
And then there's a class called Gunner. And this is another one that has a male and female, but this time it's switched. The female has 1 class and the male has 3. So the female has Gunslinger, which basically looks like Aaron Black from Mortal Kombat. Like, that's what it seems like it would be. The artillerist is a dude with a massive fucking cannon looking weapon. Then you have Deadeye, who I think is a pistols guy, and then Sharpshooter, who is like your archer type. You got a mage. There's 2 different types of mages. There's your bard and your sorceress. Bard uses music to do damage and help heal and stuff. I think sorceress, obviously, magic. And then the assassin, which is really cool. There's the Shadow Hunter and the Deathblade. Shadow Hunter uses glaives, which are like the 2, like they're one-handed, but they're two blades on them. And then Deathblade uses... It says Deathblade uses 3 swords, right? I could see her holding 2. I don't know where the third one comes in, unless she just like puts one up and drags it while you're doing combos.
You ever seen the big wolf from Dark Souls that carries the sword in his mouth? It's like that.
But yeah, those are... And I have a Shadow Hunter that I've played some, and she's quite fun too. And it's just kind of like...
down all them shadows.
Man, I'm gonna try. There's so many damn shadows, dude. The fucking sun makes my job so hard. The moon too. I can never sleep.
Sucks. I'm sorry, man.
Except on new moons. Those are the one night a month I sleep.
That's good. At least you get some rest.
I mean, yeah. I mean, rest. Quotes around rest. But anyways, one other thing before we jump into the Nintendo Direct, I want to get your guys' opinions on that. There's a game that I would like to play with you guys as well called Devour. It's a horror game. It's like Phasmophobia. It's janky like OG Phasmophobia. And you play as Satanists, and you have to sacrifice goats to get rid of a ghost that's inside of a house. I don't know how to tell you how that makes sense, but that's what you got to do.
Ghost logic, man.
I played some of it today. It's just dumb fun. Like, I didn't take the game seriously. It did give me some spooks, but I think it would be a fun time to do, like we used to do our Phasmophobia, where people, we'd get in there and have a good time for an hour or two. I think it'd be another little fun little ditty like that.
An hour or two. That's cute.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. 4 or 5 hours. 6, sometimes 6 or 7. It just depends. I don't know if we would sink that much time into it, because I think it's still very early in release stuff. Like I said, like it's probably going to be more akin to when you guys first played Phasmophobia back before I played it.
Yeah.
But it seems like it would be fun. It's called Devour. If any of the listeners want to snag it on Steam, I believe it's $4.99 at normal price. So, but
the monster design reminds me of the girl from The Ring.
Yeah, very much. It looks like The Ring or The Grudge.
Yeah, The Grudge too.
Like fucking creepy little bitch. And she's tall as fuck too. Don't let her fool you. Like, she scared the shit out of me when she just appeared in front of me. I'd be like, oh my god.
That sounds fun, because I mean, I feel like I do like the horror factor in Phasmophobia, but it kind of does less direct visual stuff, and that might be fun for a contrast.
Yeah, I think so.
Like, Phasmophobia is more about the atmosphere and the threat hanging over you. Like, if you actually see the ghost, that's usually not a big deal.
No, yeah, this is actively like, there will be these fiery pentagrams that appear, and these demon things will crawl out of them, and you have to like shine your UV at them to kill them. Like, there's a little more to it, you know, but
could we possibly go wrong with a horror game where you shine a flashlight at monsters? That went real spectacularly for us last time.
I had more fun with this. than I did Blair Witch, but also it's like probably the multiplayer aspect of it, where we're all running around like,
does always help.
What the fuck are we doing? Yeah. Did you guys get a chance to catch the Nintendo Direct or read anything about it?
Yeah,
I didn't know it was going on until I was tuned in about halfway in, so I missed some of it. But some pretty cool stuff for fans of RPGs.
Yeah, I would say so. Is there anything that jumped out to either of you?
Yeah, there was, and I have really extremely mixed feelings about it. And that is the additional 48 tracks coming to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which sounds really cool. Like, yeah, we get more tracks. Like, they're all remakes of old tracks from older Mario Kart titles. So I'm sure you'll have your Mario Kart Wii Double Dash, probably some SNES tracks too, because they're going to run out of ideas in that lot. But the thing that really frustrates me about it is it's paid DLC, right? it's paid DLC for an 8-year-old video game. Like, Mario Kart 8 came out for the Wii U 8 years ago in 2014. I guess somebody put it in perspective for me a little bit, though, that at least they're not doing what they did with Mario Party, which was release a game that's basically just the current Mario Party, but with like the mini games from the old Mario Parties.
Yeah.
So I'm at least grateful that that's not what they're doing, but at the same time, it's just like, it feels kind of bad. It feels bad, man. You know.
I also kind of like. Oh, go ahead, Willie.
Oh, just the timing seems odd too, because they've announced or at least talked about the fact that there is a Mario Kart 9 in development. They say it's going to have a new mechanic or whatever as its main focus. They didn't say much about it, but it feels weird to be adding 2 years of DLC support to a game that already has an announced sequel. You know,
unless they think that that's going to be that far off. But I don't know. But I look at it like they're doing what I think Madden should have been doing for years now, which is release a game called Madden. And then the next, like, say you release it in 2022, and then next year put out the 2023 update thing, and it so say you pay $15 or whatever, and it updates the roster to the current roster and stuff. If you care about that kind of shit, but like they should just kind of incrementally update Madden instead of releasing a brand new game every year that's the exact same. It just has some new names in it. You know what I mean? And I get it's a little different with Mario Kart, but at the same time, I wish other series would learn from what Mario Kart's doing. I think that they could benefit from it. Sports titles in particular.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
I mean, fuck, even WWE games, you know, like, which I'm crossing my fingers that 2K22 or whatever the fuck's coming out this year is going to be good.
I have no faith in them right now, but I really want them to prove me wrong.
Yeah. But yeah, some of the games that jumped out at me, you heard me mention in the breakdown for the Fantasy League, the Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes looks really good because I really liked Fire Emblem 3 Houses. I wish I would have never traded it in because I would like to replay it again. I'm sure I could figure out a way to do that, but what's up?
What exactly is it? Is it like a regular sequel, or is it like a spin-off game? Because I saw it uses the characters from 3 Houses.
So it's like you know how they did Hyrule Warriors, or it's kind of like a Dynasty Warriors Musou type, or Musou, yeah. I think is how you say it, type game. It's one of those just with the Fire Emblem characters from 3 Houses.
Okay.
Which is going to be interesting because the way 3 Houses was there were 3 houses, 3 factions, and sometimes you would have to go into battles and help each other. Sometimes you fought against one another, and it could be interesting to do that in a Warriors type setting. So, like, I kind of have high hope for it.
The very first Musou game was Dynasty Warriors 2, and that was literally based on the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. So having 3 sides is kind of part and parcel to what that game's style can do.
Yep. Oh, man. Yeah. And, you know, when I was playing Dynasty Warriors 9, which apparently the PC release of was absolutely fucking atrocious, but I was playing it on PS4, and I started listening to this podcast about the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, and, dude, that's some fascinating shit.
Oh, yeah. I would never have got into it at all if it weren't for those games teaching me about this period of history. That's just so many interesting characters and, like, such an important part of, like, Eastern culture in general, too. Like, it's like you practically have to know that or you're basically culturally illiterate.
Yeah, and, you know, from playing Dynasty Warriors, you know, I'd be listening to it, I'd be like, oh, I recognize that name. Oh, I recognize that name. And if I didn't have that, I'd be like, what the fuck are they talking about? Who is Cow? Like, what is, you know what I mean? Like, Jaldoon. Oh, Lu Bu.
I'm gonna pursue him.
Told you not to.
Damn it.
I love Lu Bu.
Dark Souls, you died text comes up. One thing I was interested in, I thought, I haven't finished the first game, but like, I'm probably one of the, not everyone in the world agrees with me, but I didn't like how Xenoblade Chronicles 2 went to a weird, less of a, like, I like the original art style, and I felt the second one's character designs were a lot more generically anime, and I feel like they've kind of put the wagon back on the right track for what they've shown of Xenoblade 3.
Yeah, I started up the first Xenoblade Chronicles the other day. I don't know when I'll have the time to, like, put into it to play it. You know what I mean?
It's a big one.
Yeah, and then Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is even bigger, but the third game looks really cool. And that definitely jumped out to me as well. I was stoked to see that they're actually remaking or remastering, whatever you want to call it, Chrono Cross.
Yeah.
Because I feel like maybe that game will finally get a fair shake. Maybe it's been a long enough time that people won't compare it to Chrono Trigger. and appreciate it for what it is, even though it's supposed to be like a sequel. I've never linked the two in my mind. When I played demos of Chrono Cross back in the day, I never owned it, but I have played demos and stuff of it, and I don't know, it always seemed fun to me. So, like I said, I didn't play the whole game, so it could be a pile of dog shit. I don't know, but I've always heard that the music in that game is fantastic.
Yeah, I believe that for sure. I never got around to it because I didn't play Chrono Trigger until a while later in the timeline of when games were coming out. And at that point, Chrono Cross already kind of had its reputation for being a disappointing sequel. So I didn't want to do it to myself right after playing it. And then I just kind of forgot it existed afterwards.
Quickly, some of the other things that jumped out. Mario Strikers Battle League looked interesting. The Mario soccer game.
Yeah, I know a lot of people have been waiting for a new Mario Strikers game, so I'm happy that they got that announcement because I feel like that made a lot of people happy.
For sure. And then the Nintendo Switch Sports.
Yes!
I have feelings. Like, what is the new way they're doing Mii's and that just looks so bad? I hate it.
They are wacky looking. There's some weird looking Mii's for sure.
Like, I want it to be good and awesome, but like, God, the graphics on it are kind of like, oh, what are you doing here? You're taking away the kind of like the personality of Wii Sports.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, it's really all just going to come down to how it feels to swing a Joy-Con around like it's a Wiimote, because I thought the Wiimotes were built for motion controls, and Joy-Cons don't seem like they're specially built for anything.
They're so fucking small, dude.
They really are.
I don't understand.
I have big man hands. And tiny little controllers.
Yeah, dude. That's what broke my heart when I loaded up Mario Party, and it was like, you have to use one of the Joy-Cons. I was like, fucking really? I don't wanna. I want to use my Switch controller, or my Pro controller, goddammit.
Like if you can't even play Mario Party on a Switch Lite because you can't remove the Joy-Cons, so it's like completely worthless if you have a Switch Lite.
Oh, fucking! I didn't even think of that.
Didn't even consider that.
Fuck. Some of the other ones that jumped out was like Front Mission First, the remake. That just looked interesting to me. I like some strategy games every now and then. SD Gundam Battle Alliance.
Like Chibi Gundams. Cool. That was really cute looking.
Yeah, I was like, hell yeah, I like Gundam stuff. I never got into any of the Gundam animes. I would like to watch some. So if anybody has any recommendations, hit me up. But
I've heard G Gundam is kind of the craziest, so it's probably the one I'll watch if I get around to watching a Gundam.
I always hear
that's the one that has like the Dutch one that looks like a windmill.
There's a windmill Gundam? What?
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds ridiculous. I always hear Happy Console Gamer.
It's called Nether Gundam because it represents like the country of the Netherlands and stuff.
Hold on, I gotta look this up. Oh my god.
Told you, fucking windmill Gundam, dude.
That's like, oh, who the fuck came up with that? The guy who comes up with Mega Man bosses. What the fuck? That's awesome. I wonder if he can lay on his back and fly away. That would be really cool. I always hear Happy Console Gamer talk about this show called Macross, which I think was like mech fighting stuff. I know it's not related to Gundam, but like I just lump in Gundam with mech stuff. And then a couple other ones. The Live Alive. We had that conversation earlier. Goddamn, Live Alive. That coming out over here for the first time is pretty cool. I have the fan translated ROM of it, so I mean I've checked it out. It's pretty fun. I think people really enjoy that. And the only other one was Lego Brawls, which I think is basically just Lego Smash Bros. If I remember correctly.
One that I think looks really good. I mean, this isn't the first time it's been announced. They just dropped a little bit more information about it, though. Was that new Kirby game that they have coming out, the 3D Kirby? That one looks really good. The new power-ups they kind of displayed in the thing where Kirby doesn't like quite eat it the whole way, but just kind of puts his body around something. Like the Kirby car was the big takeaway a lot of people had from the Nintendo Direct, where he eats half of a car and just drives around the car.
Kirby car freaked me out, man. I was like, what the fuck?
Kirby car for Mario Kart.
Because it's all inanimate objects that have a mouthful mode instead of a copy ability, it is now my canon that Kirby has to eat something with a soul to gain its ability. Otherwise, he just kind of emulates it.
Dude, there was like... I feel like there was innuendo jokes in that, because there was mouthful mode, and then there was another one like where you got to get something hard to move forward or something like that. And I was just like, what is Nintendo doing right now? I had to rewatch the trailer to remember exactly what it was, but it made me giggle. But yeah, it was overall it was a pretty cool direct. I was happy to see that a lot of the cool RPGs are also coming to PC. So that's good for us.
One takeaway is, like, without Smash having new characters to announce anymore, it's really hard for them to come up with, like, a super home run announcement that everyone will agree on being, like, made the show or whatever, you know? Like, although I still think, here's something you could do. You could show us some Breath of the Wild 2. We are absolutely dying for it.
That's true. That's true. People are, like, clamoring for more for that game. I wonder if they'll, like, give it an announcement this year.
Yeah, they just need to go ahead and announce Mario Odyssey 2. Like, it just needs to happen.
They should do Mario Iliad.
Yes, that's it.
I think that would be fun. I don't know if anybody would get I mean, y'all got the joke, but I don't know if the majority of people would get that joke, but it would be fucking fantastic.
Looking forward to Donkey Kong Country Returns.
God, please give me another Donkey Kong game before the Switch goes out of commission. Please.
And make it a bongo game.
I thought they weren't even gonna... I thought, oh yeah, bring back the Donkey Kongas. But man, I didn't think that we were going to even get Metroid Prime 4 to ever come out in the first place. So the fact that we got Dread along the way too, like, I was whining like, Nintendo, what are you doing with my Metroids? And now it's like, well, they went and did the thing. Like, they made an all-timer.
Speaking of Dread, that got an update on the Direct where it was talking about they added a harder difficulty and an easier difficulty.
Yeah, like Rookie mode and Dread mode. Rookie mode means you have a lot of extra hit points. Dread mode is one-hit kill. I can't imagine beating that game in Dread mode. Like, it's so hard to not take damage in that game.
I wouldn't play it on anything other than easy.
Oh, I play it on normal. Normal is fine. I'm good.
I am awful at Metroidvanias. If you guys haven't found out from listening to our episodes on different types of Metroidvanias.
The thing that usually makes Metroidvanias hard isn't the combat, so like I'm less worried about the difficulty in that regard. Although this game does, for a Metroidvania, actually have, like, for a Metroid game especially, it has a lot more, what's the word I'm looking for? There's a bit more of a combat focus, like they've added a parry and shit.
Hold on.
What happened?
What the fuck was that? I hope that picks up on recording, dude. I swear
it was on Willie's end. I think it had to be something happened with his mic. It just made a huge squeal noise. It was like...
Willie, you're talking and it sounded like somebody behind you just went ah! Like really quick in a high-pitched voice. Like I thought like the Phasmophobia ghost was about to get your ass, son. Like,
we're about to start hearing
I don't see it on my waveform, so hopefully that was the internet. Oh man, now I think I'm worried I'm haunted and I'm not going to even see it happen.
It's just weird that me and Dalton both heard it and you didn't.
Yeah, because like I know I wasn't looking at the camera, but like on my web or on my computer over here, I made eye contact with Nate. Like, oh, what the fuck was that?
I thought y'all just thought I was being real friggin' insightful about Metroid.
No, I was trying not to shit my pants. I was like, what the hell?
Have fun editing, Dalton, if that sound didn't make it into the recording.
Oh yeah. No, fuck that. I'm leaving this in. This is gold.
Just dub in a terrible sound.
Yeah, there you go. I'll figure it out. Gentlemen, let's talk about some well down. Let's get well down into Downwell.
Actually, hold on. One more thing before we get into Downwell.
All right.
Did y'all get the chance to watch the trailer for the Chip and Dale movie?
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, like, what a cool concept.
Like, and I love, like, because it said it was from, like, Lonely Island is heavily involved in it. And, like, some of the ideas that they had were insane. Like, I thought it was brilliant, the juxtaposition of them doing a cartoon in a live-action setting by having them initially being shown in the trailer hanging out with Roger Rabbit, like the first one to do it, to show that concept is viable as a movie to begin with. Like, I thought that was just a brilliant idea.
Yeah, and then the whole... Oh, go ahead, Will.
Oh, no, go ahead. You guys are doing specifics. I was going to say something general.
It was the part where... I don't remember if it... Was it Dale that said that he went and got the 3D...
Yeah.
The 3D, like, plastic surgery almost, and he came out looking like a 3D model instead of the 2D, which I thought was cool that they left them different Like, they didn't make them both get that done. You know what I'm saying? Like, one's still 2D and the other one's 3D. That's fucking cool.
Yeah, it's really interesting because it worked. It still worked.
Yeah. And some of the comments on animation that I saw, like, where they were making fun of Polar Express was so Seth Rogen. He's like, I'm looking right at you. No, we're down here. Nope. Look at my eyes. I'm looking directly at your eyes. Oh, shit was fucking fantastic.
That's the wildest part. Like that, if you told me that they were making a Chip and Dale movie today, like, and didn't show me the trailer, I'd be going, "Oh, cool, another soulless cash in on millennial/Gen X nostalgia." Now watching, like, no, this is a movie that has a lot of ideas and things to say, and pays like homage and takes interest in the recent history of animation. Like, it actually seems really sick.
What I would have expected from it was I would have expected it to be good, but I would have expected it to be like a reboot, like the Lin-Manuel Miranda DuckTales they did a few years ago. Like, that's kind of what I was expecting it to be when I first heard the thing crawl across the screen. But then I watched the trailer, I was like, "What?"
Yeah, the scene where they were doing the 3D animated people walking around, and the guy was just walking into the fire hydrant without going anywhere. I was like, oh, I wonder if they're making fun of Bethesda, even though I know it's not what it is. It's just like, that's exactly what it reminded me of. Oh, man, real quick. I can't believe
Todd Howard installed Skyrim on my Chippendales Rescue Rangers.
Speaking of fucking Skyrim, so I beat the Thieves Guild, and I encountered a bug where I didn't upgrade my Thieves Guild armor before I completed it, so it doesn't count it as completed. Even though I completed it. So that achievement, I'm going to have to get another time. Also, I went into the Dark Brotherhood Sanctuary and like talked to everybody and then tried to leave and my game crashed. So I was like, okay, that's weird. So I went in there and tried it again and it crashed again. So I was like, all right, let me go in there and save and then I'll reload it from inside and see if it helps. I went in there and I hit save and it crashed my game.
The Dark Brotherhood are finding new assassination techniques. Now they kill your computer.
Yeah. Oh my god damn it, dude! I've got so many pieces in the museum, like, and I can cheat. God. I can cheat and like go into the museum has this picture of like this Cthulhu looking thing, and if you open it, there's a safe behind it, and you can access anything that you've put in the museum. But in the mod menus, you can actually go in there and be like, no, I've done this and this and this, and it'll fill in the museum like you have done it. So I might end up having to do that just to sate my fucking, I want to fill this goddamn museum up. But yeah, so that's been really annoying. So I put Skyrim down today. I'm going to not play it for a day or two and not be mad at it anymore, and then I'll get in there and see what I can do about it.
I'm kind of surprised you haven't already gone into the console and fixed everything or whatever, because you seem like, of the three of us, to be the one who is most okay with casually cheating in games in the first place. And this time it's not even you cheating, you're just getting your actual shit.
Yeah. I am definitely not afraid to cheat, and I've always been that way. Like Grand Theft Auto back in the day. Shit. R1, R2, L1, R2, spin the D-pad around twice. Boom, guns. You know what I'm saying? Like, I still have those just like imprinted in my fucking head from putting them in so many times. And I don't do it with all games. Like Final Fantasy games I generally don't cheat at. Like turn-based RPGs I generally don't cheat at. But like Skyrim, Oblivion, stuff like that, I am not afraid to be like, oh, I need to jump off this mountain. Console, toggle God mode. Console off, jump off mountain. Land, toggle console, turn off God mode. All right, keep moving. That's just how I am. What can I say? I get all my cheating out in video games, so my girlfriends are happy. Hey. Isn't that right, sweetheart? Mwah. Yeah, I kissed my hand for people that can't see me.
Your girlfriend, Paul.
You know, this is an audio podcast.
Pamela Henderson.
This is an audio podcast. You could have just lied and said they had two hot babes over there, man.
Why would I be recording a podcast if I had two hot babes over here?
I mean, you got two hot babes in the room with you right now, if you know what I'm saying.
I mean, I was going to say two hot boobs. You guys are a bunch of boobs. Hey. Got you, fuckers. Suck a butt. Oh, that's a callback for just us. But yeah, so Willie, do you want me to do O-dubs first, or do you want to introduce the game?
I actually think O-dubs is a good call. I mean, That way it'll be more obvious what we're talking about when we're talking about it. Plus, we don't have a ton of notes for this because it's a relatively short game. So, hence this being a half Nintendo Direct episode.
So, fun fact, I keep calling this game Downfall in my head.
Like
and I searched
about Hitler?
I searched Downfall, and what came up was a movie about Hitler, and then a horror video game and then a tabletop adventure horror game, and then there was a whole Wikipedia list of things called Downfall, and not one of them was what I was looking for. And then I was like, oh yeah, it's Downwell, and I typed in Downwell, first goddamn thing that came up, Downwell, because that's a much less used term. But yeah, so the Downwell O-dubs, which is the obligatory Wikipedia bullshit for any new listeners who might be listening. Downwell is a combination of a vertically scrolling shooter and platform game with elements of a roguelike. It was developed by Ojiro Fumoto. Let me try that again. Ojiro Fumoto. And was published by Devolver Digital for iOS and Microsoft Windows in 2015 in October, and for Android in January 2016. Then it was It was published on PlayStation 4 and Vita in 2016 in May, and then a Switch version came out in 2019.
That's a lot of versions.
This game's been released a few times, yeah. British studio Red Phantom Games developed the Switch and the PlayStation ports. Downwell uses a palette of 4 colors, which defaults to the black background and white outlines, with red as highlights for gems and enemies and other important items, and blue for water environment features. The exact colors can be changed throughout unlockable in-game palettes. And the art style and underground level design have been compared to Spelunky and Cave Story, which, from what I've seen of Spelunky, I don't get that at all. But
no, me either. It's way too, what's the word I'm looking for? Simplified to be Spelunky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to the wiki for this game, and they said the game was directly inspired by Spelunky, and I found that kind of surprising because I feel like Spelunky definitely involves more platforming and roguelike elements, and this is a lot more of an action game, straight up.
Yeah. Did you guys know that the character has a name?
No.
I used to know that because he was going to be in one of those crossover Smash-like games, but I forgot what it was.
So his name is
what's the Downwell guy name?
Weltaro.
Weltaro.
He's a curious man who was at the local park one night when he decides to explore the depths of a well nearby because, we all just get a hankering to jump down a fucking well. Knowing that monsters are waiting for him inside, he straps on his gun boots and starts his trip downwards, killing his enemies to proceed and collect treasure. The game has 3 basic controls: left, right, and shoot. When midair, pressing and jumping or holding the jump button fires Weltaro's gun boots. Oh, okay, so I'm sorry. It's left, right, and jump, and then you can shoot with the jump buttons. Yeah, there are 3 buttons that you have to press. Fun fact that I didn't find out until today: if you go into the options menu, you can full screen this game. It
doesn't have a Windows maximize button or whatever. That's completely disabled. You have to change it in the options menu.
Yeah, so when I was playing this, I just assumed that I had to play it in this little small screen, which was killer for me because I don't see all that great, if you can't tell by these big old spectacles on my face. But once I put it in full screen, it was much easier to play, and I got a lot further. But spoilers, I did not get fucking far at all in this game. Because in fact, I would like to ask you guys about some of the boss fights in a bit, because I did not see one of them. So I'm curious to know what they are. But yeah, so basically you just kind of, I don't know, Willie, if you want to take it from here. I know you know more about this game than I do, but we're kind of just falling down and trying to kill stuff. And I do have a question for you, but I'm gonna let you explain or talk some first.
All right, so basically, while you're falling and stuff, you can jump on enemies that do not have I'm going to use the word red to describe the highlight color, but there are different palettes you can choose from. The more you play, the more you unlock them. So it might end up looking like a Game Boy guy or something to you instead of a red thing. But you can land on any enemy that's mainly white, but if they have a fully red body, then you have to shoot at them instead of dropping on them. But basically, you shoot with your gun boots, which is a ridiculous phrase that I love, and drop. And there's also doors throughout the level that have little time bubbles. And if you go into those, that can be like a shopkeeper or a new weapon. And so there's a few different weapons. They're kind of basic video game guns. Like there's like a spread gun, a burst fire, etc. There's one you can aim while you're falling, but it makes you do a little less damage. And your goal is to kind of keep on healing and getting more ammo charge, so by the end of the game you have enough resources to win, because the final boss fight is a pretty tough one. And a lot of the platforming in the game too, it's kind of hard. It is kind of platforming, but it's just, you're falling straight down a lot of it. Like I think that's one of the most interesting mechanics of the game too, is because the direction of the game is with gravity. That means you kind of are constantly trying to decide whether you want to fall fast and try to just get to the end of the level, or if you want to take it slow and risk enemies catching up to you from above. And you kind of set your own pace when you play until you get to the later levels that have gimmicks that make it so you have to go through quickly.
Yeah, I didn't see any of those. I'm curious though, real quick, what palettes did you guys settle on as being the one that you used?
I'm lame. I ended up just liking the Downwell palette the best. Like, there's a bunch of them in there. So much to the point where it reminded me of Gato Roboto. Like, I feel like there was a lot of shared palette decisions between the two games. Like, There were ones clearly inspired by Game Boy and Virtual Boy, and then just some ones that made me want to pull my eyes out when I tried them.
Like Grandma?
True for both games.
Yeah, Grandma. I was like, oh my
Grandma
god.
was... I tried to play a game on Grandma, and I made it through like one half of a level and said, nope, default palette,
Aqua.
please.
Aqua was a good palette.
Aqua was pretty.
Yeah.
I think that was the like blue and black one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that a lot. The one that I ended up settling on is the one that kind of looked like a Fallout Pip-Boy. Like everything was kind of like green and black looking. Like that was the one I liked the most personally.
Nice.
Because this game reminded me of something you would play on a Fallout Pip-Boy. Like there are games that you can find throughout the Fallouts and like plug them into your Pip-Boy and play them. And this legit reminded me of one of those.
That's a fun idea. I like that. That just made me happy.
Yeah, I liked the variety of the different guns. Because you had like your machine gun boots, you had your laser boots, shotgun boots. Like I'm sure there were more that I didn't see, but I did enjoy so I unlocked 2 styles as I was playing. Mm-hmm. Which styles are different than palettes, where styles kind of they affect your character. And
yeah, it's like I would call it like a challenge mode run, but it's like how like in Ubermosh, when you pick your character, it's kind of customizing your difficulty because you get different resources basically. Mm-hmm. In this, it's like the styles are like your guy's always doing a handstand, and that means that your guy's always windmilling his arms, or he's always like rolling up like a boulder. And what changes is like one of them gives you extra health but fewer options when you get to the end of the level upgrades, and one of them takes away all the shops but makes it easier to find guns, or vice versa. I can't remember exactly which.
I used Boulder, which was
okay.
You got 2 more HP to start off with, but every time you got a choice, like at the end of the level, instead of having 3 choices, you only had 2.
I looked up the world record speed run, and they used Boulder, so I think that is probably the mechanically correct play.
It was the only reason that I saw past the first area. Because I had more HP. For the first 3 days that I played this game, or actually longer than that, because I've played this for like 4 or 5 different days, just like 45 minutes here, 30 minutes here. I did not get past the first like 1-3 until today. Yeah. This game kicked my dick into the dirt. It was fun though.
It's unforgiving with mistakes.
Yeah, for sure.
And like until you've learned an area, there's a lot of stuff where I feel like if you make a mistake, you tend to get rattled and then mess up again in rapid succession. And you only have 4 or 6 hits of health like to start off with. And the only way to increase your maximum health is either by buying the most expensive item in the game or by over-healing yourself 4 times, which basically means you're wasting 4 health upgrades to gain maximum health. But both of them end up being worth doing,
Nate,
if you can afford it.
Did you have a particular style that you ran with?
Yeah, I played with Boulder as well because I liked having the extra hit point, and I felt like the way I got to the point where I was getting to so many shops or to the end of so many stages that like I didn't really miss having the variety of things, because like you could always choose out of 2 when you got down to the end of a level, and I felt like there were only so many different upgrades, and you could only get each upgrade once. So if you made it far enough, you were probably going to get the upgrades you wanted by the end of it.
I would say, not to mention, there's the one upgrade that gives you 1 HP and then another choice. So, like, instead of having 4, you have 3, but then you're back to where you're at in the beginning, but you also have 6 HP. So,
yeah, I was about to say the youth upgrade that basically gives you an extra option every time you finish a level. Like, that's basically makes Boulder style almost like all reward, no risk, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Although I did really like the one where he just windmilled his arms when he ran around. That one cracked me up.
That was very fun. I love that animation so much. I just ended up playing it on normal style.
But yeah, gentlemen, tell me somewhat about like the bosses and stuff, or like the levels past where I didn't see. This is where I'm going to turn it over to you guys, because I did not.
Yeah, I can start off a little bit with it, because like the first level of the game, you're kind of just going down the first part of the well, right? So it's pretty much easy, like not easy, but compared to the rest game, easy. I think that was called the cat.
It's just a cavern. It's just a video game cave level basically at first. Then it gets weird after that.
Yeah, just a video game cave level where your enemies are like bats and slimes and other non-determined creatures, essentially. Yeah. And so you just make your way down from 1-1 to 1-3. If you can make it down to the end, you get to the next level, which this one's kind of the spooky level.
Yes.
Yeah. So like there's like, huh?
I was just gonna say, I did all right in this place until I got to the enemies that started throwing shit at me.
Yeah,
and that was where I got fucked up.
In there that throw bones at you, it's like those are one of the most difficult enemies to get past, in my opinion, in the game.
Yeah, I just try to avoid those guys because I don't know whether shooting at them and then trying to bounce on them is like shooting at them to try to take out the bones and then bounce on their head. I don't know the timing for that, so I'd rather just leave them. You know?
Yeah. It's like their skulls. I think there were still the bats in there, and it was pretty cool. That, to me, from my playthroughs, was the hardest stages that I made it to. Because I made it through from 1-1 to 4-3, I think, is as far as I made it in the game. And that second world, to me, was the hardest world.
Yeah. There's just a lot of stuff it does that will panic you. Like I said that in the later levels, there's things that keep you from doing it too slow. Now think about it. The catacombs, the scary world, is where some of the platforms, if you stand on them too long, spikes shoot up. So like you don't have as much sure footing in that level as you did in the cavern.
Which I think is training you for the later parts of the game where there's even less footing. But man, it was so hard to realize that I have to get off of this right away. When I first started getting down there every time, like I was getting killed by that so often.
Yeah.
Yeah, those fucking
I streamed this game, and that's about all I really put into it was one stream's worth of playing the game. Like played it for about 3 hours on stream and made it to 4-3, which apparently was the level before the boss. But Willie, you want to cover from past after the catacombs?
Okay, so after the catacombs, you fall into some water in this area called the aquifer, and this level introduces an oxygen meter mechanic. So you have to kind of break. It's not as bad as it sounds, because I think if you run out of oxygen, you just take 1 health damage, and it refills automatically.
And don't worry, you don't have to hear the sonic drowning music while you play.
Yeah, so you've kind of falling, and there's... I don't know why I keep saying you're falling. That's the main mechanic of the game. But, so there's, like, jars that have air bubbles and stuff in them that you can pick up pretty frequently throughout the level and stuff.
Yeah.
And,
the enemies are fish and squids.
Yes, there's a lot of fishy enemies, including... That squid is one of the most dangerous enemies in the game, because if it gets past you all the way to the top of the screen, it, like, shoots down from where it landed up through, like, a missile. Like, goes past any land and stuff, too. It's just straight down. So if there's a bunch of them, it can be really difficult to avoid, especially while you're not thinking up, you're thinking down, you know?
Yeah, that would suck.
And then after the aquifer is level 4, which is called Limbo. And this is a level with no floors. Like, there's stuff you can bounce off of, but there is no actual floor outside of the time bubbles and shops. So, you get really big combos down there, and combos give you a lot of extra points. They give you, if you get a combo of at least 8 kills without touching the floor, you get 100 extra gems, which is the currency used in the shop. If you get 15, then you get the gems and 1 extra charge for your ammo, so a permanent extra charge for your gun boots.
I do want to say that, like, it took me a few runs to figure out the combo thing, but once I did, like every single time. I was trying to bounce off as many enemies as possible on the way down.
Yeah, I did manage to beat the game, and I'm still not exactly sure how obsessive you should be about combos when you're playing it, because like it feels like a completely different play style, which is why I didn't want to push it too much when Nate was streaming, because like on one hand it lets you gain maximum health and ammo earlier on in the game, but on the other hand it leads you to do a lot of really risky stuff that gets you killed early, and since he was mostly dying in the catacombs, I didn't want to add an extra thing until he was used to all the enemies.
Yeah, that's fair.
And so that's basically Limbo. It's kind of weird, like it's like a weird void for the most part. The stuff you're bouncing are random objects too. Like there's like old TV sets and mushrooms, and like there's no real thematic connection. It's just like you're in a nowhere space. And then you finally get to the last level, the Abyss, which is just one boss fight, but the boss fight also has 4 stages. And so the boss is like. It's a video game boss. It's a creepy, spiky eye monster thing, and it like opens up its eye and shoots blasts at you. And there's also like a spiky part at the top, so you can't go too high below. If you hit it, you'll take damage. If you don't fall with it fast enough, you'll also run into the wall of spikes and take damage. And the whole time you're fighting it, it spawns enemies that are based on the enemies from the stages. So you first fight him in the caverns form, where he spawns like the bats and stuff you fought in the caverns. Then you fight him in catacomb form, where he's spawning like the skeletons and ghosts and stuff. And if you get through all 4 of the forms, and you win, and you get to the bottom of the well. And I was very happy to see what was at the bottom of the well, because I didn't actually know what to expect.
What was at the bottom of the well?
Well, we made a comparison to this game, and I don't think it's an intentional connection, but it's a cat. Just a little cute kitty down there.
That's
fucking
awesome.
Seriously.
That's funny.
I was thrilled.
So you have to fucking kill Cthulhu and take his cat, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Interesting, dude. Yeah, okay. I would have laughed at that if I'd have gone through all that and got to the end and I just like saved a kitty. That would have been satisfying for me.
Yeah, same. And I probably will come back and try it a little bit more off after this podcast. Okay. One thing about this game is it can make you rage.
Yeah.
So like there were times while I was streaming, I was getting mad at the game. I was like, I gotta keep my cool. I'm live on air. I can't be mean. But I was like, God, I want to kill something right now.
I feel like that especially happened with the collision detection on the bats. Like that seems like the strangest. Like when the bat comes off of the wall, it feels like it hits you in a way that you don't usually expect. You usually think you're going to get the drop on them.
Yeah, I there were so many times that I would try to like bounce off a bat and it would damage me, and I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why? What the fuck? And then when I was in boulder mode, like some of the things on the ground, I would roll over to them and think that it was going to hurt me, and I would just squish them. And I was like, okay, that's cool. I'll take that.
Yeah, the worm enemy can't hurt you unless it falls on you, so you can just walk over it.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that's definitely what it was the worm. This would be a good pooping game. And what I mean by that is like, if this is a decent, because I didn't play the Android version or anything, but if it's a decent version for phones, like this could be a cool game to like while you're in the bathroom, just get a couple runs in,
Yeah, and the one thing I've really noticed too is like, once you guys started mentioning that it was developed for the Mac operating system and whatever first, I was like, oh, this was intentionally developed for phones on purpose. So then I went back and started looking at the game on Steam, like just the Steam store page. If you look at it, that's the dimensions of a phone. Like, I didn't even notice it while I was playing it, but this is clearly a game that was made to be able to be played on a phone. And I was like, huh.
An interesting setting in the options menu that I can't help but laugh at because of GameSack on YouTube. He always goes, Tate mode!
Oh yeah, I had a Tade mode, or Tate mode, or whatever that's set.
I think it's Tade, but he calls it Tate because he just is a joke on there.
It looks like Tate.
Yeah, but he calls it Tate mode. So what Tate mode is like, say you could take your monitor and flip it sideways and turn on Tate mode, and it would flip the screen to fit your monitor sideways.
That's cool.
It's from it's used in a lot of vertical shmups from Japan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and that's usually when he makes those jokes, he's covering some sort of shmup, and he's like, guess what it has? And then it does the, like I did, the Tate mode.
That is really interesting.
I'm just imagining Terry Tate.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting, like, because I don't have a monitor that'll do that, but some people have monitors that rotate and stuff.
Mine will.
Well, there you go.
Nice.
So you might be able to check it out in Tate mode.
That's hilarious.
Tate dog.
Tate dog. Oh yeah, Nate playing Tate. I'm sorry, Nate playing Tate.
Nate dog. I thought we were Dick Crash Bandicoot last week.
Nate dog.
Dang.
Yeah, that was good. I don't know if I'll put much more time into this game, but it might be something that, like, if I've ever got some time to kill, I'd be like, or if I'm like watching something that I need to pay attention to and I can kind of pay attention to playing a game, I might throw one Downwell. I was gonna judge it harshly, and then I figured out how to make it in full screen, and it wasn't as bad. I'll give it a 7 downs out of wells.
Yeah, I'm pretty similar to where you are. Because I think it's a fun game and it's a really cool concept, but God, it pissed me off sometimes. But at the same time, like, that's not always a bad thing. Like, sometimes games are intended to do that. So I thought it was pretty fun, all in all. So I will go ahead and give it 7.5 skulls out of squids.
I mean, it definitely pisses you off, and I think that's the good thing about this kind of game is even a winning run is like a 15-minute run. Like, the world record speed run is like 6 minutes or 8 minutes or something like that. So, like, you're right back in it immediately, and I feel like that's to its strength. I did manage to beat it. I hadn't beaten it before we did it for the show. I beat it, like, a couple hours before we started recording, and it was satisfying, so I enjoyed it. There's also a hard mode after you beat it, which I did try a couple times, and it's interesting. I made it to the boss again on hard mode, so we'll see if I keep on playing it or not, but I think that it's a game that does everything it should with what it has. It's just, it's small, it's cute, it's fun, it can be a little bit of a bastard at time, and I think that's kind of something I like in my pseudo almost roguelike light games. So I'm gonna give it 8 wells out of actually.
Oh my god. I definitely feel like it's a game that I can beat though if I put a little bit more time into it. But God, that joke, Willie.
The fact that
I want to throw a tomato at you.
Hey, the fact that you've reached 4-3 means you probably are only a couple games from at least seeing the boss.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you just need to clean up your catacombs. Honestly, you seemed like you breezed through Aquifer and Limbo.
Yeah, they were way easier to me than the catacombs.
So this game inspired me to look up a list because I don't know, lists have kind of become my thing, and because it was a good indie game, you know what I mean. So I was like, what are some of the best indie games out right now? So I found PCGamesIn.com. I don't know why there's an in on there. PCGamesIn.com. Anyway,
we're games in.
We're games in. It's the best indie games on PC of 2022 or in 2022.
In 2020. Okay, so these come like from any time.
Yeah.
Okay.
How long is this list?
So it's all-time list.
Curious, let's have guesses.
There's 12.
12.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
It'll be a travesty for an
indie
game list. It doesn't include Hollow Knight, Celeste. Those two really should be on the list. Really, what about you? What are some of your predictions?
If they have any love for Metroidvanias at all, Cave Story tends to make everything's indie game lists.
Yeah.
Okay, I can tell you.
Probably Undertale as well.
Okay, I can tell you that two of the games that you have mentioned are on this list.
Okay.
Okay. Number 1 is Wildermyth.
Starting at 1, not 12.
Or I guess it's 12. I don't know. These aren't numbered.
Okay.
Then it's not a real list.
Have you guys ever heard of Wildermyth?
Wildermyth, no.
Yeah, he's just that guy that used to be the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, right?
Get off the stage.
Someone grabbed the hook. Apparently,
I can't stop myself today. I'm sorry.
The quick description of it in here is: if you've ever wanted to play through a tabletop RPG campaign with friends without needing a dungeon master to craft your story, Wildermyth is the perfect solution. As your unique cohort, Jesus Christ, of heroes set out on the world, they encounter all sorts of adventures. They shape their identity and personal narrative. As each story is procedurally generated, you end up playing through a tale that's totally unique. So
nice.
Seems interesting. Your characters age, fall in love, and eventually die, but you can keep their legacies alive in subsequent playthroughs. It's a storytelling marvel with beautiful papercraft art and an endless replayability.
Oh,
nice.
Papercraft art. Okay, I'm on board now. Always down for a new aesthetic.
The next game on the list gives me a segue into saying, shout out to Tadpog, Tyler, and Dave Play All Games, because Dave was talking about this game just the other day. This game's called Inscription.
Yeah, okay.
And just looking at this screenshot, I am going to play this fucking game. Yeah, like, it looks real cool. It's a card game at first glance, but apparently there's more hiding under the surface. Initial gameplay is a mix between Slay the Spire and lane-based card games, though it tends toward the macabre as you need to sacrifice smaller animals to play bigger and better beasts to wipe out your opponent. And then it starts going on that, like, the more you play, the more you realize that there's more going on than what it seems. And this is very vague, so I'm just going to say that and leave it at that. Okay. Because I don't want to spoil anything. So
the dev has made a very similar game that also is like much more than it seems behind the scenes. So I trust them to pull this one off.
Hell yeah! What was the other game? Do you know the name of it offhand?
Pony Island.
Oh, right. I heard Dave talking about that too. That's a free to play game, isn't it? Pony Island. Or
I don't remember. I think it might be.
While you're checking that, the next game on the list is called Unpacking. Either of you heard of Unpacking?
I feel like I've heard of
that. Didn't that one just come out? Is that the one that has like the really good sound and stuff?
Yeah, recently. It's got
Pony Island is $5 on Steam.
Oh, okay. $5 isn't bad. Unpacking is basically like it's supposed to be like a relaxing, soothing style game. It just plays really like lo-fi and like chill music, and you have a bunch of boxes and you have to unpack them and place everything in the right area in the room. And it's just strictly it's a game to just make you like, it's like a stress reliever.
Nice.
I've heard really good things about it, actually.
I have watched Jane from Outside Xbox play it. I have it on like on my monitor while I'm like playing Skyrim and stuff, and it straight looks like it would just be like a really cool game to, like, if you've had a hard day, just come home and just chill and play it. It would be fun. Up next is a game that I think I have on the list, and I believe that one Wayward Cross comic, Paul Korn, wants to be on when we talk about this game, is Disco Elysium.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Interesting thing about this game is, if I remember right, there is no combat, but it's like a top-down perspective, sort of like the old Fallout games, Baldur's Gate-esque. Obviously, it looks better than those these days, but yeah, no combat. It's all story.
I'm noticing so far this has been a very narrative-heavy list of indie games as opposed to gameplay-heavy, so I might have been off on my original guessing.
Girl, same.
Well, that's about to change, because next up on the list is Valheim.
Huh.
Oh, well.
And
there we go.
Valheim might have a story. I cannot tell you what the fuck it is. Nobody paid attention to that. But for listeners who don't know what Valheim is, it's a Viking crafting game, survival crafter. It's pretty fun. I mean, I had fun when everyone was like on the Valheim wagon there for a bit, but then when everybody kind of fell off, I was like, nah, this isn't as fun alone.
Yeah.
Next up is Death's Door, which I've heard them talk about on Factory Sealed. Actually, shout out Factory Sealed Retro Video Game Podcast. It's kind of like a newer game. It's inspired by Legend of Zelda and Dark Souls. You play as a crow in charge of reaping the souls of monsters for the Reaping Commission headquarters, a mysterious yet surprisingly bureaucratic organization.
Okay, that's a lot of. You said a lot of things I like. I love the idea of bureaucratic afterlives. I love the idea of a Grim Reaper crow. Yeah. So far, you definitely have me.
These monsters aren't ready to give up their lives, and they're ready to put up a fight in order to keep them. Make your way through dungeons, cemeteries, and overgrown ruins as you solve puzzles and defeat smaller enemies along the way. Death's Door is a beautiful visual style in combination with strong combat mechanics truly sets it apart. The combat feels fantastic as every slash of your sword has weight behind it.
Cool.
So yeah, that does seem like a cool game. I might have to look into that. Death's Door.
Yeah, I don't feel like I'd really heard about that before. I'm kind of interested now.
Next up, a game that
good work list.
I don't think anybody's ever played. Among Us.
No.
This fucking game, dude. Like,
this list is sus.
Yeah. Hey, Among Us, like, dude, I guess it had its time, and it's still having its time, but I am over it.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel like Among Us has done one thing which is interesting, was it managed to pull off the cycle of overplayed meme to dead meme to just memeing through it until it is now a permanent meme that will never go away.
Yeah. Like, I think I sent y'all a TikTok that was an Undertale meme this morning, or maybe I posted that in the Pokemon chat in our Discord.
You mean Among Us meme?
Yeah. What?
Oh, you said Undertale. Did you mean Among Us?
Yeah, Among Us. I'm sorry. My brain is broken. Yeah, it was Among Us meme. Sorry.
No, it's fine. But dude, that was the most genuine. What? Like, the look on your face, that was the most genuine confusion I've ever seen, where you were like, what the fuck are y'all talking about?
I felt bad for asking about it. You looked so lost.
I was.
But yeah, Among Us is on this list. Next up is Loop Hero.
Okay.
Which I've heard of. I think I downloaded it. But yeah, I haven't played it, but it's like another roguelike. It says, another day, another tile of ghouls. In this retro roguelike, you must ready your sword and shield and venture into the loop. An endless, treacherous cycle of vampires, slimes, and dagger-wielding goblins. Those are three of my favorite things. Playing as the hero, you set out on a looping track, placing cards down as you acquire along the way to make each loop more dangerous than the last. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so looking at this screenshot, it looks like the level design is a circle, or a quote-unquote circle is what you can do with squaring, but by destroying monsters surviving each day, you gain precious materials to take back to camp. So yeah, it's a roguelike. That kind of reminds me of like oh my god, I almost said Drawn Together, but that is totally not what I'm thinking of. That's a show. Don't Starve, where you're going out and collecting the materials, so your next run out will be more productive.
It looks like Loop Hero was originally started off as a Ludum Dare game jam game, and it was published by Devolver Digital. And both of those things tend to make me think, okay, I'm interested. I don't know why, but I absolutely tend to love game jam or games that have origins as game jam games, because they usually are based on a really strong concept.
Yep. And Devolver Digital published Downwell.
Yeah, Devolver Digital don't miss, man. I really don't think I've ever played anything that they published that I wasn't like, oh, I see why you guys got into this one.
Next up on the list is a game that I think y'all can talk about more than me, even though I believe all three of us have played it. Hades.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So this list seems to be going a lot more modern and current than I was anticipating.
Yeah, so far.
Yeah, I was thinking of like an all-time type list too, but I got nothing bad to say about Hades, man. That game is absolutely a thrill. I think it's got fantastic action, fantastic writing. The characters are amazing. The difficulty curve is constructed maybe cleverer than any roguelike type game I've played in a long time.
I could have included Hades in our Patreon discussion. Shout out to our Patreon discussion. If you guys want to hear that, it's $1 a month on patreon.com/Steam Podcast. Because I got to a part in Hades and I still to this day can't beat it.
Everyone gets stuck at a certain boss in the third level. It's normal.
Fuck, man. Kicks my ass every time. But yeah, Hades is great, dude. The combat just feels so good. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, the weird thing about like progression in Hades 2 is like, I for the longest time played with just the spear and the bow and tried to stay away from stuff. But my first winning run ended up being with the sword because I had to actually pay attention and react to stuff instead of just blinking away from a distance and thinking I'm invincible. Like, so maybe a change in your playstyle might help, at least so you'll learn more of the mechanics of the enemy that you're struggling with.
Yeah, I think my favorite weapon ended up being the staff. After like a couple different tries, because I was using the sword for a long time, and then I switched over to the staff and seemed to do a bunch better. So maybe I just need to try maybe like the bow or something.
Yeah, the sword was the last weapon I'll beat the game with.
I like the bow in theory, but unless you goose it up with a lot of dataless hammers, it kind of suffers on DPS towards the end of the game, I feel like.
Yeah, it definitely, I would get to certain points where I just felt like I wasn't putting out the damage I needed to be. So the final three.
Is this all games we named?
Next up is Stardew Valley.
Oh shit, I didn't say Stardew Valley. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Which is just like Harvest Moon, but better. Like, yeah. Stardew Valley, I need to put more hours into that game because there is something so ridiculously charming about it. And I mean, it's kind of like Graveyard Keeper. I mean, you guys have heard us talk about Graveyard Keeper, and I'm sure if you're listening to this, you probably know what Stardew Valley is anyway, but there's just a lot more to it than just farming. Like you can go into the dungeons and go kill slimes and stuff, or you can help save the little local stores, or you can bring in the Walmart equivalent. There's just like a bunch of different shit. You can get married, all kinds of stuff. It just seems like it would be a fun game.
It seems like they took the original Harvest Moon ideas and just expanded them into a game that's more than just a farming game, but it still has that soul in it too. I don't know. It's really nice.
And it started off being made by one guy, which I think is
that's crazy.
What was his name? Something like Curious Gorilla or something like that. But he ended up having to hire people once the game blew up in popularity. He had to help hire people for porting and things like that. But he is working on a second game that's coming out. I don't know when, but it's called Haunted Chocolatier, and you run a fucking chocolate factory like Willy Wonka, and I am so looking forward to that shit. So next up, Undertale.
I feel like probably enough words have been written about Undertale in the history of humans at the beach that we don't have to really add our own stripe to this one.
Yeah. All I'll say is I'm interested to eventually get to that game and play it.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good episode. I mean, eventually we are. I don't think I'm going to say anything about Undertale right now that no one in the history of mankind has ever said.
Right.
And the last one, Celeste.
Okay.
Celeste. And as much as I've heard about Celeste, I've never played it. It seems like a game that I am not going to... I'll probably enjoy the story or whatever it's trying to tell, but I'm going to absolutely fucking hate that game because I don't like Super Meat Boy because it's too fucking hard. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know if Celeste is going to be one of those or if it's going to be like Hollow Knight where it's hard, but I still enjoy it.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see when we get there.
Is there an easy mode?
I don't think there is.
Is there a Tate mode?
Not Tate mode.
But yeah, so that's the list of according to this website, the best indie games as far as 2022 goes.
I feel like you could probably ask the same person to make that list today, and they probably put 6 different games. It's a really broad, question. Like, I'm not criticizing the list. I'm saying that, like, I'm saying that as a defense of the list. Honestly, like, I don't think that was a bad list. I think you could have every game be different and still have a good list.
Yeah, the list that jumped out to me, but I didn't pick it because I knew it would never fly with either of you. Was a list that was 100 of the best indie games of all time.
We're not doing that. That's an entire episode.
That's an episode.
I was gonna say, yeah, that would be like a Patreon bonus episode if people were interested in it. But like, yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. One day I would like to do a like rank the episodes of the games that we've done. You know what I mean? Because I don't remember if me and Ryan did that. I know I did a ranking thing where, like, you know how the YouTubers will do the S, the A, they do those. I did that for like the first 30 episodes, then gave up because I was like, holy shit, I'm never gonna have enough room for all of these. But it would be fun to go through like some of the, maybe we'll do that for like the 100th episode. We'll do a little segment about our favorite episodes we've been on, yada yada yada, or maybe rank them if we can. Oh, we'll figure it out when we get to then.
I just hope this doesn't overlap too much with the Steamy Awards thing, because I mean,
no, I want to do it differently than that.
Okay, gotcha.
I want to like rank, try to do it like a give them an actual number instead of just being like, this one was our favorite, this one was our favorite. We know the tops, but where do the others fall? That'll be the interesting thing. Anyway,
how does Graveyard Keeper compare to Dragon, a game about a dragon?
Graveyard Keeper's way better.
But yeah, I was just trying to think of 2 games that we gave pretty good but not great or terrible scores to.
I didn't think we gave Dragon very good scores at all, but maybe I'm misremembering.
I want to say,
yeah, I feel like we were rough on that one. I mean, it has problems.
It does. That game needs a remaster. Just kidding. But yeah, if you would like, I would really appreciate it if all of you would pop over to iTunes or Spotify. Throw us a 5-star review if you think we deserve it, or even if you don't, throw us a 5-star review anyway. Talk shit, but give us 5 stars. That'd be wonderful. It helps us in the good old algorithm, the almighty algorithm. Let's see, what else do I want to talk about? Oh yeah, the Discord link. If you'd like to join the Discord, which I highly suggest that you do, because you guys can vote. Next week is the fan poll game, which is going to be Star Wars Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast. That's a fucking mouthful.
Hey, yeah.
So that'll be the game next week, and then we have a poll up right now for the next one. And that poll, you got Metro Last Light Redux, excuse me. Sir, You Are Being Hunted, Heroes of Might and Magic 4 Complete Edition, Sega Bass Fishing, and Final Fantasy 7. Right now, Final Fantasy 7 is winning by 1. But we'll see, because that's going to be... I feel
like you really buried the lead on that one, putting Final Fantasy 7 at the end.
That's what Steamy told us to do. Leave him alone.
I was going to say, I didn't pick the order. I promise.
I believe you. I believe you. I'm just like, man, that's that's the gorilla in the room, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
That is a big game, big time commitment, and Probably maybe a multi-part. Would we multi-part that if we get it?
Probably, yeah. I would like to see the end of it.
Not take a staff pick next week or next month or whatever. And we can
short game poll coming in.
Yeah, that'll be when the short game poll comes in for sure. Which is another poll that you guys can vote on because that's all you guys. It's all you. Yeah, so bit.ly/TSMP Discord, all capital letters. Come join, vote on that. Talk in our general bullshit that we do. There's a lot of good people in there. And if you also would like to join the Patreon, which would be very helpful to help the show out and stuff, is patreon.com/the Steam Machine Podcast. And I would like to give a shout out to all of our Patreons with a special reach around shout out to Nate Sir Cogsworth, the 7th of Juniper, Jeff, the original expendable old Jeffy Lube. Eventually I'm going to make his name so hard I can't say it. And then Arisa Adam, shout out to his podcast, Revival and Extinction. Then after that, merch link if you want a shirt, tsmpproductions.threadless.com. Go get you a shirt with our logo on it or Steamy or whatever you want. If you want to go to the website, bit.ly/the Steam Machine Podcast. Capitalize that phonetically. You can find the episode there and a link to all kinds of stuff, including my Bandcamp, where you can find, if you like the music for the show, you can pick that up there at nilethenightmare.bandcamp.com. And you can also find a button for a certain Turtle Bear Man's Twitch, so I'm going to pass it over to him and let him go ahead and plug his stuff.
Hey guys, you can give me a follow on Twitch, Twitter, and TikTok at Turtle Bear Man, just on my retro video game bullcrap. I did actually stream the Steam Machine Game of the Week this week. When it's a game like Downwell or something like that where it's feasible, I'd like to do that, but generally catch me doing retro garbage. Peace.
Yeah, and I would like to try to start streaming more games. I just need to make time for it, for the games for the show, because I know you're not going to want to stream the ones that are not retro. Willie, sir, do you have anything?
I like to give a shout out to Nate because he has really good pacing. I just noticed you finished that Coke during the housekeeping section, man. You paced that Coke beautifully.
Oh, yeah. You got to cut the Coke with a little bit of water. You know what I mean?
That sounds terrifying.
Would that hurt?
Make Coke too.
Would that hurt your nose? No, I'm just kidding.
I'm drowning, and I'm high.
Oh, no.
That's a double whammy.
It's a terrible combination. It's like, I want to enjoy this, but I can't breathe. Next week we'll be doing Star Wars. The week after that, I believe, is back to Nate. Your choice, correct? I believe, and then it's my choice.
Pick a good one.
I was going to choose an RPG.
Wait, Dalton, have you had a pick yet? What was your last pick?
My pick was Crash Bandicoot.
Oh, you sure did. Never mind. Yeah, it is back to me. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. And then, like I said, I was going to pick an RPG, but I have a very strong hankering that we're going to be playing Final Fantasy VII, so I might hold off on picking an RPG. But I'll figure something out. I'm curious to see what Nate's going to choose, though. But we'll talk about that next week.
Pick some real dog shit this time. We've played too many good games lately.
Any?
It's too positive of a podcast.
I was going to say any last words, but that's a perfect one right there. Too positive of a podcast. So for the Brothers of Destruction, I'm Dalton, and as always, guys, take it easy.